down to the hardware store to see my old friend Bob. I said my roof it leaks, my rug's a mess, and my front door needs a new knob. I got squirrels in my attic, I got bats in my head. Well, Bob just leaned over the counter and he shook his head and said, "You need home repairs and solutions. Home repairs and solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house, they'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home repairs and solutions."
And it is time for Home Repairs and Solutions with Mark and Mary, brought to you by Spring Mountain Air Heating and Air Conditioning, your local Amana dealer. And today, Mark isn't here, but our hosts this morning are Mary and Paul Pearson. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Dan.
And normally I went ahead and said Mark and Mary, even though he's not here, because it's always Mark and Mary. But today it's Mary
Paul and Mary.
Paul and Mary, yeah.
Yes, my co-host Mark, that's usually here with us on the show, has got a health issue he's dealing with right now, so he's going to be out for a little bit, and we wish him all the best. I think I talked to him last night, and he said he was going to be trying to listen in today. So if he's listening in, we say hi, Mark, and hope you're having a good day.
Yeah, we hope you are, Mark.
And but fortunately, my husband said he would help me out today, and I don't think he has much choice when I ask him that question. It's kind of like, yes, dear. It's like, yes, dear, I will help you on the show tomorrow. So thanks for helping me out, honey. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
And today, I'm real happy we have a guest on the show today to talk about a couple things. One is roof repair, but the other thing he is an expert on and can help people out with is chimney repair. And we haven't had someone on before who can do that, who's an expert in that field. And so with us today is Bob McElroy with Max Roofing. So thanks for coming on. Welcome to the show today, Bob.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. I'm very excited about today.
Absolutely. We're excited to have you on here and visiting with you. You have a lot of great information to give out to our listeners. So before we get started with the show, we'll give out the phone number in case you're listening and want to call in and ask Bob a question. The number here is 862-9977 or 1-800-375-0056. So it's a free call from anywhere in the listening area you're at, and we'd love to hear from you today. And to start off the show, Bob, I know that we were visiting earlier, and I've talked to you a couple times, but you have been in the roofing repair business for over 40 years, correct?
Almost 44.
44 years. So I'm sure you've experienced all kinds of situations, and your wealth of information can give us lots of good tips and things like that. One of the questions that I have for you to kind of start off the show, I was thinking about it coming in this morning. We've had a lot of really strong winds lately and a lot of inclement weather type situations. When that happens, is there something that a homeowner can do to inspect their roof, or what should they look at if we've had like these 40-mile-an-hour and 50-mile-an-hour straight line winds? Do we need to be checking our roofs to see for damage, or what do we do as a homeowner to know if we need a repair?
Well, when the wind blows that hard, there's a number of reasons why shingles can blow off. If a person can just look up at the roof at different times when the wind is blowing, and if they see the tabs starting to lift, then that means there's two problems, one of two problems. The nails are being pulled off, or the shingles are being pulled off the nail. Another one is, it's possible, it's very rare, but sometimes the adhesives holding the shingles down hasn't sealed something. It could be a factory flaw, but if they're really flapping in the wind, it's either the nails or the glue, or it could be the combination of both.
So if your roof is in good condition and you're not having an issue, even in strong winds like that, you shouldn't see any movement.
No, as long as the glue is holding and the nails are holding, the wind shouldn't take it off. We're classified an I-90 area, a 90-mile-an-hour wind.
Okay.
And so, other areas of the country have higher wind factors, but we're what is called an I-90. And so basically your shingles should be held down. The adhesives on shingles today is very strong, and they seat pretty fast. A roofer can be putting shingles on, and within minutes in a good sunshine, the glue is sealed that quickly.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, that's good to know, because I was kind of thinking about that the other day, because, you see all kinds of debris and stuff flying around. I was thinking, I hope our roof is still intact. But I didn't know what to look for.
If the shingles haven't been nailed properly, the wind can really start pulling on that, and that's why you'll see whole sheets come off. The glue is holding together, but the wind is able to just really pull those shingles right off in sheets.
Okay, so if you see that your shingles are flapping in the wind, folks, you might want to get a hold of someone. You're going to have a roof issue. Another question I have, because this has happened to us before, sometimes when you have a leak somewhere in your home, by the time that you have some damage to your roof and a leak actually comes through and you can spot it in your ceiling, oftentimes where the spot shows through isn't where the leak is coming from. So how do you find a leak? Like, you might have a shingle that's bad on the left side of your house, but by the time it runs around all over the roof or whatever the water does, it ends up in a different spot in your home. How do you know where to find where the problem originated from?
Well, there's a number of ways. Usually the water doesn't travel too far, but I've seen it travel as much as 15 to 20 feet. And that traveling is usually done on the roof before it drops inside.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes it could be hitting some ductwork, and it can travel on it.
I see.
And get somewhere. But usually the leak is pretty close to the spot on the roof. My first choice is to go up on the roof first to see if I see something obvious, a nail sticking up, a broken pipe boot on a plumbing, something of that nature, a missing shingle, cracked shingle, something like that. If I can't find that, then, like I think most roofers, then we go in the attic. We find the spot that's wet because the insulation will show, the drywall underneath the insulation will show, and then you go from there to see where it's coming from.
I see. We have a caller on the line. We have Bridget from Springfield holding on. Good morning, Bridget.
Good morning, Mary. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Did you have a question for Bob today?
Yes, I certainly do. I have just put in an offer on a house here in Springfield, and I want a wood-burning stove. And I'm curious, he apparently does chimney repair. Does he do chimney construction as well?
No, I do not.
Do you know anyone reliable around here who does?
Are you wanting a brick or rock?
What I'm wanting is there is a space in the wall where there's a double glass door. And to me, that seems the ideal spot to put a chimney for the stove.
Are you talking about metal flue or a masonry flue?
It would have a metal flue.
That's what I thought. The triple
So wouldn't
wall.
you need brick around that?
Not necessarily, depending on how far away. I don't know necessarily the codes on that, but you do need to use a triple wall stainless steel exhaust stack for that. And it doesn't have to be framed in or anything. There's supports that can be bought for that to hold it against your house and away from your eave, or if it has to go up through the roof, it can be done there. And then you would need a roofer to properly install it to your roof. But
this is fascinating. This is exactly the kind of information I need. So a triple wall
stainless steel frame. Yes, as long as that, if you're going to be burning wood, yes. If you're just going to have a gas burner, then you can go to a double wall.
Yeah, I want wood.
Then you definitely need the triple wall stainless steel.
And do you have any clue about how much that would run?
They're very expensive.
They charge by the foot on that.
I think the last one I quoted for about 15 feet was extending, and I was looking, I think, between $250 and $300 for all the hardware involved.
Oh, okay. I just talked to someone who said the insulation and everything I was wanting was going to be $1,250. So say $300 sounds really good to me.
Well, that's just the material.
Right. So there'd still be labor costs.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to have to try and figure out who I can get to do all this. This is such an awesome show. Thank you very much, because you guys actually put on someone who knows something.
Well, thank you very much, Bridget, and we appreciate you listening in. And thanks for calling in today.
Thank you very much.
Bob, I've got a question for you. We get up on roofs all the time and stuff, and we're constantly seeing nails pushing up. What causes the nails to push up in the shingles and stuff like that? I mean, it's usually on older homes and stuff.
That's a good question, because that's one of the causes of many leaks, the simpler leaks to find and fix. There's a number of reasons. One, the nail could have just hit the joint in the wood, and so it really never went into anything.
Oh, I see.
And so it's just creeping up. I think God only knows why that takes place. You know, why does a nail inside a house and your trim decide to creep out? But, you know, it happens. The other reason, the type of wood that is often used here in construction, especially some of the older homes, that they used cedar decking.
Right.
Cedar is extremely soft. You can almost stick your finger through in one place, and the other end of it will be real hard, and therefore the nail really isn't ending anything.
And I thought maybe it's because it heats up, maybe expansion, contraction, but it's probably mostly the wood that you
Mostly the wood.
Yeah.
The nail never really is into anything that's really biting. Like when a shingle blows off, generally the nail's still there.
Yeah.
The shingle has been
so
pulled
don't run
off
over
of the
them
nail.
shingles in the road,
Yes.
because I've seen that happen too.
Yeah, that would probably not be a good thing. Then you'd have a punctured tire or something. One of the things we were talking about earlier also is that you do free estimates.
Yes.
And so if anyone is having an issue with repair, or if they even think they might need a repair, you can come out and check out the roof and give them a free estimate as to what might be done. But you also do inspections, is that correct?
Yes, we do inspections.
And why would someone need an inspection?
Generally, it's someone who is selling a home or a person buying a home. They're wanting it inspected, just like other aspects of the house. They want to make sure it's suitable. I believe most of your loaning institutions, if there's a question about the roof, they want something certified saying that it's at least 5 years before they'll make a loan on it. That's been the policy, not with every bank and loan company, but that's been sort of the general rule. And so a roofer is called out. Usually you might have a full homeowner inspection, and he might say, well, there's some questions about the roof, and then they'll call for a roofer to come out and to see the condition, the age of the roof. I really recommend to the average homeowner, whether you're selling your home or not, when your roof starts to become around 8 years of age, it needs to be looked at. There's usually some little problem like a nail coming up, pipe breaking around the plumbing, because they're neoprene and they'll crack and start letting water in, which is generally the cause of most leaks, your average leak. And so it's just like a car. Just like your tires need changed, your oil needs changed, a roof needs to be looked at. The weather is extremely harsh on a roof.
Well, I would imagine, especially with some of the extreme weather conditions we have, like being, 60-some yesterday, and then I got up this morning, it was 30. I mean, you go
Yes.
from hot to cold in a very short period of time, so that's got to probably have some sort of effect on it as well, I would imagine. We have another caller on the line. We have Mike from Springfield. Good morning, Mike.
Hi, good morning, folks. A quick background and have a question for the roofing gentleman.
Yes, sir.
Last year, around springtime, this old boy come around the neighborhood, and he represented a roofing company. He was forward-thinking, drumming up business, looking at roofs, and knocking on the homeowner's door, letting them know that he, suspects that, for me, my situation, hey, you've got hail damage from previous storms. And so I said, well, I appreciate that. And he left his business card. Well, later down the road, he got to thinking about it, contacted my insurance company recently and says, hey, courtesy heads up, I was told by a roofing company I have hail damage. And just, let you know something is coming down the pike with regard to repair. And she goes, well, that's fine. And SOP, standard operating procedure, is that they would send the insurance company an inspector to confirm that there is hail damage. So my question to the roofing man, have you ever dealt with those insurance inspectors, and are they on the up and up? Have you ran into problems? Upon your inspection, you ascertain that there is damage, and the insurance company rep, oh no, there's no damage, to save a buck. You know what I mean? How does one handle that? I guess. Do you ever run into that kind of a problem?
Yes, I have. Probably every roofer has.
Okay.
The situation today compared to 5 or 10 years ago, there's been a lot of changes regarding the insurance companies and how they deal with things. Basically, the adjusters that I've known over the years have been very fair and are usually pretty knowledgeable about their work, especially in my area of the roofing. But there's times when I've met out with adjusters where I've said there's hail damage and the adjuster says no. The problem, the difficulty is you can actually have one roof. Your neighbor roof can be wiped out by hail and your house not even touched. And so that becomes a real problem in a neighborhood. 3 or 4 roofs are being done, and you're the only one told that you don't have any hail damage. But I've had some serious problems over the past. It's difficult to get an adjuster in today's time to recant his position. Years ago, we could go out, we could meet with them, we could make a compromise, we could make it some kind of adjustment. But today's time, when they make a judgment call, they generally will not change it. And yes,
I haven't started, gotten the ball rolling. Are you going to give out your business number during the show?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, because you have, like I say, I haven't initiated any of it, and so you've worst case scenario, you've experienced this kind of stuff, and I'm clueless in that regard. I've never had a claim with my insurance company. Had them for 12 years on the house, and never had a claim. And gosh darn it, if I've got hail damage, I want to take care of it. You know what I mean?
Well, I would like to cover another issue with you regarding that.
Sure.
A good, reputable roofing contractor will not knock on your door and tell you.
Oh, I didn't. Well, hey, they got some food on the table, yeah.
But I just ran across this with a good friend of mine who died a few years ago, was in construction. And his wife called me this week and said roofers have been telling her that she has hail damage and that they would cover her roof with a tarp if they wanted them to cover her leaks. And she goes, I don't have any leaks. And so she called me. And I was just there this week, went on the roof, and there's absolutely no hail damage. I put that roof on about 15 years ago. She's getting some wear and tear. She's getting close to needing a roof, but she's got 5 years or more left on. There was not 1 ounce of damage caused by hail on that roof. And I really think people need to be concerned. And I've been roofing 43 years. I've never once knocked on someone's door and tried to sell them something or tell them they needed something. Always go by recommendation, and they call me first.
I appreciate what you're saying, and when you give out your phone number, I'll jot her down, and you give free estimate?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay, very well. Thank you, folks, and good day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Why don't you go ahead, Bob, and give out your phone number so people that are needing to call you or talk to you will have it if you want to give that out now.
It's Max Roofing. That's MAC''S Roofing. The number is 864-6510. Again, 864-6510.
We'll give that out again later in the show in case some of you listeners missed that. So be ready. We'll give his information out again here in just a little bit.
Well, I got a question for you. Someone like myself and Mary, homeowners will call you. Should we call you first before contacting the insurance company? Because they don't like to come out and look at the roof and say there's not a problem.
Again, in today's time, things have changed.
Yeah.
Usually what I've been experienced, and I do work for insurance companies, that when you call them and tell them you think you have some damage or missing shingles or whatever, like the other gentleman, someone told him he had damage, they'll generally nowadays ask you to call a roofer, or they might have a roofer that they recommend and send them out to look at it first. Mm-hmm. You have a situation now that most of the insurance companies, if you make 3 claims in a year, no matter if it's your fault or someone else's fault, the insurance companies will drop you.
Yeah, that's what I think I was trying to get to.
And so they'll generally say, well, call a roofer, or
and I
we'll
think a
send
lot of people don't know about that, Bob.
Yes.
I mean,
it doesn't sound right, really, because say your house gets wiped out by a tornado, and then it burns down, and then you have a problem with wind blowing some shingles off all in 1 year, they'll generally drop you.
Well, something else, and I'm not sure if I have my facts completely straight, but I was kind of under the understanding that if you call your insurance company and say, I might have a problem here, even if you don't have a problem, that's potentially counted as a claim.
That's a claim.
Even though you had no repairs or anything done or no damage, because you called it in and suspected something, that counts as a claim against you, whether anything was done or not. So you want to be real careful about that.
Call Bob.
Yeah, just call Bob first.
I was on a customer's roof in Republic a few weeks ago, and she was a great agent. And she said, well, I've called Bob to come out and look at my roof. I've got some shingles sliding. And he went out on his own also and inspected. He said, well, have the roofer, it wasn't wind damage or anything like that. It was application problem. And but he was really good, and not a lot of agents don't do that. But he went out there and checked, went in her attic, looked at everything, and he was very good, very thorough, and very good. But the whole point was, I don't want to call in a claim,
sure,
unless it is actually an
damage
insurance
situation.
claim.
Yeah,
yes.
I thought I was right about that.
I've got another question. Do you repair flat roofs?
Yes.
Okay, that's kind of important.
Yes.
I mean,
commercial or residential. I have quite a few years' experience in commercial work. I started in commercial work in San Diego almost 44 years ago, and I ran a large commercial company, a branch office in Santa Fe for a number of years.
Oh, wow.
Doing a lot of government work, and so basically, a lot of homes have flat roofs regarding the patios. And
we had one.
The tie-in is often the problem. Joining the flat roof with the shingles. Sometimes shingles are put on too low a pitch on a flat roof, and then the water starts seeping in, and they get all kinds of damage.
Should you put that product called ice underneath that?
The ice shield is usually under your shingles.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
There's a different type of material to go down on a flat roof that is really very good materials today.
That one material we use, a rubberized roof on our flat.
It's called EPDM. It's one of them. Yeah, it looks like an inner tube.
It worked, yeah.
Yes.
It was black. It worked really well.
Yes.
And we never had a problem. It was on there for, 20 years?
Long time,
Long time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you have some newer ones today that are reflective, and actually they're white, and there's different materials, but on a hot summer day you can actually put your hand on them and not feel any heat, so they're really cooling to a patio.
I know the roofers don't like the mechanical contractors on their roofs with their screwdrivers and stuff.
You bet.
Boy, you won't get chewed out real quick. Our guys go up there, and there's a roofer up there and said, don't you drop your screwdrivers now, boys. We'll be fixing a hole in the roof, and we don't want to do that.
Well,
and I can understand after being up there.
I've got a son who's an electrician. I said, I ever catch you or hear of you dropping a screw or leaving wire or something on a flat roof, I'm going to get you.
Yeah. Well, that's why one of the things we do, if we have to install a new flue or something like that for a client through their roof, we're not roofers. And so we get qualified roofers to come out and actually do the work around that, the pipe or whatever, to make sure that everything's secure and they don't have...
Especially shakes.
Yeah, shakes and that type of thing. So we work with roofers quite a bit. For that simple reason, because our expertise is heating and air.
Right.
We're not roofers, but sometimes we do have to penetrate someone's roof, like I said, to get a flue or something out, and then we will call in a professional roofer to go ahead and make sure everything is sealed up correct and that they don't have any issues. So we don't try to do everything. So we'll make sure that whenever we do something for someone, they don't have any roof issues when we're gone. So. Well, Dan signaled me it's time to go to a break, so we're going to go to a few commercials and be right back at you shortly.
This is the Wall Street Journal Report. I'm Jennifer Kashinka. More than 200,000 financially strapped households will have a chance to sharply reduce their mortgage balances under a side deal negotiated by Bank of America that could allow the bank to avoid as much as $850 million in penalties. The IRS's efforts to combat a surge in ID theft are yielding success, but also a side effect: delayed tax refunds for many legitimate filers. This and other computer glitches have slowed refunds, things the Journal's John McKinnon says are causing problems for tax preparers.
A lot of people have apparently been taking to the streets over this issue. There have been reports of violence at these storefront tax preparer services, and preparers have had rocks thrown at their cars.
A Facebook page for people experiencing refund delays has gotten more than 8,000 likes. On Wall Street, the Dow Industrial's up 49 at 12,957. The Nasdaq's up 18. The S&P 500 ahead 7. This is the Wall Street Journal Report.
Referrals. Simple word, right? To a small business, referrals are solid gold. So how do you stir them up? Email marketing from ConstantContact.com. With Constant Contact, you get easy-to-use templates to showcase your business with photos and coupons. And best of all, it's easy for your customers to pass them along to others. In other words, help you generate the almighty referral. Plans as low as $15 a month. Get your free 60-day trial at ConstantContact.com and let the referrals begin.
Meet Buffalo Joe.
You want to go home in a box?
His boys Mikey and Ron. and the rest of the crew that make up the heart and soul of Buffalo Airlines, the official airline of a rugged territory where the colder it gets, the hotter the tempers flare.
So you guys better get your together.
You've told me that for 10 years.
The only thing tougher than these guys are the conditions they work in.
I can't feel my feet.
The Weather Channel presents Ice Pilots, Mondays at 9.
At Advance Auto Parts, we don't do anything just part way. We go full throttle. With a growing selection of over 350,000 parts, we have the part you need or we'll get it fast. Yeah. Advance is your one-stop. Don't run all over town because they'll have the part I need. Automotive Shangri-La. Right now, save up to $20 on Wagner thermo-quiet brake pads after mail-in rebate. Service is our best part. Advance Auto Parts. Void where prohibited. See store for details.
Welcome back to the Biore Skincare Face Anything Hotline. This week's topic, combination skin.
Hi, my friends keep tagging pictures of me and my T-zone looks so shiny. Any advice?
Unless you want to keep untagging, try new Biore Combination Skin Balancing Cleanser. It laser targets dirt and oil without stripping natural moisture, balancing combination skin.
So with Biore, I can actually look forward to uploads?
Yep, with Biore, you'll be ready 24/7. Biore Skincare. Face anything.
Here's news on the Ozarks News Network. A man with a former conviction for murder has been convicted in a double shooting at a downtown Springfield nightclub in 2005. 63-year-old Robert Cummings opened fire in the club after being denied service at the end of the night. A jury found him guilty of first-degree assault and armed criminal action. Sales tax revenues are up for the city of Springfield. The check from the Missouri Department of Revenue was up more than 38% compared to March of last year, totaling more than $3.5 million. And a woman is facing drug charges after she allegedly tried to sell methamphetamine to undercover deputies in the parking lot of a church near Mountain Home, Arkansas. 45-year-old Eileen Makovich of Flippin is charged with delivery of meth, delivery of a controlled substance, and unlawful use of a communications device. For the Ozarks News Network, I'm Arlen Summers.
Go to sportsauthority.com and get your family geared up head to toe for sports indoors and out. From cleats to running shoes to hiking boots, and from team sports to treadmills to camping gear. SportsAuthority.com has 95,000 products from brands like Nike, Under Armour, The North Face, and more. Whatever your family's needs are, not only have we got just the thing, we've got thousands of just the things to choose from. You'll find colors and sizes galore, and almost everything ships for only $2.99. SportsAuthority.com. All things sporting good.
Today will be partly sunny, high of 60. Clear skies tonight, low 33. Mostly cloudy for tomorrow, high 62 as we start the weekend. A low tomorrow night, right at 40. Cloudy and breezy for your Sunday. We'll see a couple of showers and a thunderstorm. Sunday's high of 60. Partly sunny and warming up as you head back to work on Monday, high 75. We'll see a mix of clouds and sunshine as we head into Tuesday, high again 75. I'm AccuWeather's Jason Lord.
We have 57 degrees in Springfield right now.
Well, I went down to the hardware store to see my old friend Bob. I said my roof it leaks, my rug's a mess, and my front door needs a new knob. I got squirrels in my attic, I got bats in my head. Well, Bob just leaned over the counter and he shook his head and said, "You need home repairs and solutions. Home repairs and solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house, they'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home repairs and solutions."
You are listening to Home Repairs and Solutions here on KWTO, brought to you by Spring Mountain Air Heating and Air Conditioner, your local Amanda dealer. And now here is today's host. Here are Paul and Mary Pearson and their guest for today.
Welcome back, everyone. It's great to have you with us today here on the show. Before we get back talking to Bob again, there's something that we wanted to put out to our listeners today. One of the things that our company does, Spring Mountain Air, is we do duct cleaning. We also do dryer vent cleaning. And I don't know if you've seen the video or have heard about dryer vent cleaning, but we've put a video on our website that NBC News did on dryer vents and the importance of having them cleaned out. So we decided we'd come up with a plan to help people out here in Springfield that might need to have that done. And so if you live in the 65809 zip code area of Springfield, on March 17th, we're going to be in your neighborhood, and we're going to be doing dryer vent cleanings for $49.95. So if that's something you'd be interested in doing, we encourage you to go to our website, which is www.springmountainair.com. Look at the video, and if you think that you would like to have that done in your home, just give us a call. We'll set you up on the schedule, and we'll take care of that for you on the 17th, and that will be on a Saturday. So I wanted to get that out there before I forgot about it. Because sometimes at the end of the show, we're still trying to get everything done we want to talk about with our guests, and we kind of forget to put things out there sometimes. So, and our number at Spring Mountain Air is 417-831-4036. So one of the other things that Bob does that we mentioned, but we haven't had a chance to talk about yet on the show, is he also does chimney repair.
Chimney restoration.
Chimney restoration and chimney repair. And you know, there's a lot of people that have chimneys around town and in different parts of Springfield. What do you look for? What do you repair on a chimney?
Well, first, you looking at the brick, you see if the homeowner can tell pretty much right away if they're seeing chips of the brick in your yard or laying on top of the roof. That's water that has gotten in the chimney, generally starting at the cap. The concrete cap has cracked and allows water to get down. Your bricks are, basically have the three or four holes in them, allows water to keep going down and down and down. And then in the wintertime, that water has filtered to a particular brick over a period of time. In the winter, it freezes, usually on your north side, but not always. It can be on the south side too. And so the face of the brick starts blowing off. And that becomes very detrimental. The chimney, it takes years and years. It doesn't happen overnight. But the chimney can come down or get to the place where it's too unsafe to be, there and has to be replaced. That gets very expensive, thousands of dollars, depending on whether it's a chimney that comes up through the center of the house or if it's one that goes from the ground, like on the outside of the wall and goes up. And if you see brick missing or the face missing down close to the ground, you've got some real serious problems. I don't rebuild, but I do restore. I can replace the missing brick as long as the surrounding bricks and mortar is in good shape. And then I use a very good commercial concrete sealer on the outside. And then on the cap, I have a rubber type of coating that I put, fills the cracks. It can expand and contract and prevents the water from getting in. And then there's some problems with what is called a bell. If your chimney flares at the top, like it stair steps out, the bricks are stair stepped out. They usually are not tapered with concrete. It's just the flat edge of the brick, and then that hole is very near where water is really pouring in. And the bell type of chimneys, the ones that stair step at the top or at the bottom level where it widens out, that's letting a lot of water in, and that can be some real serious problems.
Can that also be detrimental to using your fireplace, or no?
No.
Okay.
No, as long as the tile going up through is in good shape, no, it's not detrimental.
Okay.
Do you ever use the chimney, like put metal around the top and then put a commercial cap on?
Well, there are good iron caps that the black iron caps that you can buy and install. We put them on for people on the tiles themselves. But I've used this coating for over 20 years and found it extremely a lot less expensive than having a customized cap covering the entire thing. And the problem I've seen with that is how they fasten it to the brick.
We drilled.
Right, and you start getting some cracking there. So, or they trap the water into the cap because it can't flow out because the cap is real tight against the brick all around, and so the water it actually can cause more problems.
Oh, okay. Because we've made chimney caps out of copper and stuff like that, so that's something we need to look at more when we're fastening.
In the fastening, a real tight band would be better than putting the screws in.
Okay, well, that's good information for my guys when we do something like that.
Yeah, I was just thinking, how did we put ours on our house?
I am not going to tell you.
The thing is, with installation, the person installing is doing it in an acceptable way. But they don't go back 10 years later, like I go back and see things because I'm called to the roof for one other reason, and I'll look at the chimney and I'll see the problems. And the average homeowner doesn't get up on top of the roof. He's not looking at the chimney. It's not a concern. But again, it's left to the weather, and it's slowly deteriorating.
What about on the stone fireplace? Same thing. We've got a stone fireplace, and I could see how that really can really work with the water going down through there.
Right,
I
your
mean,
stone.
same thing, but
your stone isn't going to take water; it's not going to absorb it. But you got all these curves and twists, and the mortar filling
there's
in.
more chances, it looks like,
of
to
the
me.
water from getting in. It's not going to deteriorate the stone,
Right.
but the mortar, and then getting down in. Your basic problem begins at the top. Within 2 or 3 days of the top cap or the coping being applied to cement, that's going to crack around that tile. All 4 corners is going to crack no matter what you do. I used to have a full-time bricklayer working for me for years, and we would put steel in, we'd put wire mesh, rebar, everything. But those corners will still crack within 3 or 4 days.
Another thing I've seen on roofs, because we get on roofs almost every day, it seems like, I've seen the flashing where the fireplace comes down on top of the roof, and then the flashing starts getting bad. And I've seen inside homes where it's actually leaked through. Do you get into repairing that? Probably a lot, I imagine.
That's one of my biggest repairs.
Yeah, I
is
figured.
that, which has nothing to do with the brick. I'm not necessarily restoring the brick or anything, but that flashing is supposed to be done a certain way. Water gets in often through that. You have a combination of the roofer. Usually the roof is on before the chimney is built, and so the roofer's doing his metal one way, the bricklayer's doing another, and oftentimes it's not coordinated, and those corners start leaking, and often I've had to replace the wood around them. After I take the shingles off, the wood has been rotted, not leaking inside, but causing problems with the structure.
What about, there's not very many of them around here, but I see there's some places have tile roofing. Do you get into repairing the tile?
Yes. Last summer, I had to fix one up in Highland Springs where there was some real serious problems up there. And I've done tile roofs here because in California I worked with tile. You don't see as much of it anymore because of the expense. Your house has to be braced much heavier into framing because your good tiles are weighing between 9 and 1,200 pounds, average 1,100 pounds per 100 square feet, and your average framing won't take that.
Well, we have a caller on the line. We have Dan from Springfield. Good morning, Dan.
Good morning. Question, since I just happened to turn this thing on, you're talking about chimneys. Does he also fix chimneys like inside and such?
No, I do not do. I don't consider myself a bricklayer.
Well, what I was going to ask is this. We used to burn wood in an insert. I put the insert in 25 years ago, and I had to quit. We even put an humidifier in, but this insert did so good. We only had 1,500 square feet. It would burn you out. It dried out my son's and my wife's, nostrils real bad where they were bleeding, even with the humidifier. But I didn't know if there's something that you're supposed to do inside that chimney, even if you don't use it after 15 years. I know I just had it tuck pointed outside and repainted, and they redid part of the cap on top, and I forgot to ask them about the inside of the chimney. If you still do anything, or if I pull the insert out, would the original flue be there?
Yes, all of it would be original, but how long has it been since you've had the flue cleaned? The creosote builds up pretty heavy.
We had it cleaned probably, I got to think now, my son's 35, so 20. He was probably 15, so 20 years ago was the last time we used it, and probably 20 years ago, 21, maybe 22 years ago, 21 years ago was the last time it was ever cleaned. We don't use it anymore.
Did they pull the insert out and get?
Yes.
Okay. Well, as far as your question is, I don't think I have the expertise to answer that. I don't know what the problem would be.
Well, I didn't know. I just heard you talk about chimneys. I didn't know if you were, a chimney man, and then I just, while you had me on hold, I heard you more talking about roofs and such. So, all right. Well, I thought I just wanted to ask. Like I say, I didn't know if you were actually a chimney man or not. So, thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, he does chimney repairs and that type of thing. Now, one of the questions I have about that is, do you remortar? Do you
the tuck pointing? Yes.
Is that what that's tuck pointing is?
Yes,
Is putting the new mortar and stuff in case that's coming out? Okay. Let's give out your number again one more time, Bob, before we run out of time here, in case someone missed it last time.
It's Max Roofing, 864-6510. Again, 864-6510.
Well, that was an interesting question. He's already had the outside done. So once you keep the outside in good shape, you really don't have to worry about the inside so much of your chimney. The only thing I was thinking about, though, is even if you have a chimney situation like he does, and he's no longer using that, doesn't water and stuff still, can it still get inside? If he doesn't have a cap or something?
The way they're designed, the water, if you don't have a cap on, on the tile itself, the water's designed to, for the water to fall, and it goes down into the ground behind everything.
Oh, okay. Okay. Because I kind of wondered about that. If you just have an open chimney and you're not using it, if you're still having some stuff like come down through, but I didn't realize that it was designed not to do that, which is probably a good thing, I'm guessing. Sometimes I wonder about ours, but ours seems to be working just fine.
Hey,
so
I got it under control.
except for the cap installation.
And then I got Bob.
Yeah. Now, Bob, you do work for commercial and residential both, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So it doesn't matter if it's a commercial building or a single family home. If you're having an issue with your roof, or if you have questions about it, or if you have a chimney issue, then you can give Bob a call and he can come out and do a free inspection. I imagine if you find a problem, then you can give them a free estimate of what it's going to cost to repair and the time frame and that type of thing.
Yes.
So I would imagine most repairs can probably be done in a day. Is that correct? Or
actually, the majority of leaks are $75 to $125 repair. Very simple.
Oh, okay.
But I've had repairs go up to $3,000 if there's
Sure.
damage, structural, framing, broken rafters, or such like that. So if you have a leak, if you see a stain in your ceiling, the sooner you get it taken care of, the cheaper it's going to be.
Well, that makes sense. Something else we were kind of talking about before the show is some of the things that you said that you see when you go to inspect a roof, like if you have to go into someone's attic or something like that. You've been in situations where they've had a lot of moisture and mold and stuff in the attic?
Yes.
And the reason for that is because why?
The main reason are the houses that have the exhaust fans in their bathrooms is pumping moisture into the attic. And if the ventilation is not quite right for that moisture to escape, especially in the winter, not so much in the summer because it evaporates, but in the winter it causes condensation, and that begins to, we begin to see mold growing on the underside of the roof decking and the rafters. And I was just in one just a few months ago that I fixed, and it was really horrible. The moisture was so bad that it was really pouring out of the shingles up on the roof on a clear sunny day.
And that was from a bathroom vent?
From the bathroom vent.
Not being ventilated through the roof?
Probably the majority of all of them in the residential area do not have a proper vent. There's a kit that's bought, and you attach it. I mean, it's designed for ventilation, but they're not venting them when they build these houses. And that ventilation can be taken care of real quick. I don't do mildew removal. I don't do that.
Right.
But at least get rid of the main problem. Another one is the heat ducts can be broken or rusted through or disconnected. The disconnection usually happens when a roofer has had to remove everything, tear the shingles off. The flashings get disturbed, the pipe maybe gets removed, and it disconnects inside to a coupling or connection. No one notices it, and then that moisture really is being pumped into the attic. Some houses it doesn't affect because they have great insulation, the drawing of the cool air through the soffits, and then the heat rising and drawing the moisture out through the top vent systems.
Well, that's something that we try to educate our clients on quite a bit too is, once in a while you need to have the ductwork looked at as well, and that's just another reason. You might have someone that's doing something inside your home that maybe has nothing to do with your heating and air conditioning, but it could be something that would disturb it, and then you might have a problem like that needs to be corrected. So that's something we can do to help folks out. But the other thing that you were kind of talking to us about is the aren't you supposed to have like where the eaves of your roof is or something? Isn't there supposed to be some sort of fresh airflow or something through there? I mean, you don't want to stuff those full of insulation and completely seal those off and make those airtight. Is that correct?
Right. If you go up into your attic and turn off your flashlight or your attic light and close your eyes, let your eyes get adjusted. If you do not see daylight around your eaves, then there's something wrong. You're not getting the proper ventilation.
And then the other issue, and we've talked about this on the show before, is we have these roof vents. And you will see people, we've seen it ourselves, oftentimes they will cover those up in the wintertime or different times of year for whatever reason, and that is not a good idea.
No, in the wintertime, you still want air flowing. Cold air moving through your attic actually acts as a wall as long as your insulation is good. And it actually holds the heat in the house. It doesn't draw it out. And that moisture needs to rise. I really do forget the exact amount, but for every person who's in a house, I think it's like a pint or a pint and a half of water or moisture is being put into the attic every day per person. You know, through taking showers, through taking showers,
Sure.
through the dishwasher,
Doing
the
laundry, all those things, sure.
Right, that pumps, I think it's like a pint or a pint and a half into the attic per day per person.
Wow, that's a lot more than I thought.
Yeah.
That is a lot of water.
It needs to get out. A lot of your newer literature doesn't cover that. Your older literature that I grew up with in roofing always gave that, gave the statistics on that. And that's damaging the inside of your attic.
Well, Mary, you're going to have to take showers outside from now on.
I don't think so, honey.
I'll give you a towel.
He's so helpful.
This is some great information that people don't even think about, especially on the chimneys and stuff. You never think about the fireplaces at all. You're in stone or in brick, and they're there.
And you think they're maintenance-free a lot of times.
Yeah. This is some great information, Bob. I tell you what.
It is. And we always learn stuff on this show. I love doing this show. We have experts on here, and I always learn stuff every week. And Dan does. Dan, I can tell when he's real excited about a guest on the show, he's always asking for a card and some information that tells me he's got an issue at home that he needs addressed. So we're real happy to bring these experts on and get information out to our listeners, and maybe can help them out with the situation. Another thing that we touched on a little bit is, and you see that quite often around here too, is mold growing on the side of someone's house, or their siding will kind of look green or will be dark, looking like there's something growing on there, and there's a reason that's happening too, and it has to do with moisture issue.
Yes, often it's again the side of the house where the bathroom is, and it's moisture. Maybe that bathroom does not have an exhaust fan, and so that moisture is actually filtering through the wall and feeding the mold and often even moss on the north side of the house or a shaded side of the house. I've been called to houses and people say, I've got water pouring out of my wall on the outside, and it's generally near the bathroom. Another problem we didn't touch on, in an attic situation, I've seen actual people put an entire roof on a house because they had leaks that never could be fixed. It wasn't the roof at all. It was the plumbing pipes not glued together properly in an attic.
Oh, okay.
My son-in-law called me one day, and a roofer had been on his roof through a tornado, and his house wasn't damaged. And he said everything's okay. And then he started having leaks. And I went in there inside the attic, and 3 of his plumbing pipes were not connected.
Oh, my goodness.
Those are your vent pipes.
Right, your vent pipes. And so the rainwater is falling down the pipe, isn't connected to the sewer, and it just leaks right inside the house.
Well, owning a house is a lot of work sometimes, it sounds to me like, isn't it? You think you have all this maintenance-free stuff, and I guess you can have low maintenance, but you can't have no maintenance. So you have to just be aware of certain things that are going on in your home. And like Bob says, if you think you're having a roof issue and it turns out it's not a roofing issue, then you need to probably go up in the attic and check some of these other things, like he's talking about your ductwork or your plumbing pipes or that type of thing, and go ahead and pinpoint the problem and be able to get it repaired before you have some major damage. I know that water problems, if they're not addressed over time, can cause thousands of dollars in damage to a home. So that's something you probably don't want to deal with. And we have people like Bob on the air to give you great information and help you out with those situations. Well, it looks like we've got about 2 minutes left in the show. Was there anything else that you wanted to bring up or let the folks know about you, Bob, or you want to give out your contact information one more time?
One more time. Number is 864-6510. Again, 864-6510. I also do install gutter leaf systems to keep the leaves out of people's gutters.
Oh. Okay. Well, good. I did not know that, so that's good information to know as well. What is your service area? How far out do you service from Springfield?
Oh, I've actually done work in Rolla.
Okay.
Branson, Bolivar. Basically, I'm right here in the Springfield area, Rogersville, Republic, Nixa, Ozark, those areas. But I've gone further. I've done a lot of work in Branson years ago.
I would imagine there's a lot of roof work to be done in Branson here just recently again from the damage that happened down there. I think it might require more than just a little bit of a repair, though.
A little more than a repair.
Yeah, I think we have to have some major rebuilding happening down there. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I wanted to bring up.
Well, I think, we're almost done.
Yeah, we got 1 minute left.
I think it would be a good time to call Bob out before our wet season hits here pretty soon and just have him inspect, maybe have him inspect your roofs.
This is a time of year where we really get into our thunderstorms now and in the fall.
That's true. So if you haven't had your roof looked at and you need an inspection, give Bob a call and he'll be happy to help you folks out. Thanks for being with us today, folks, and join us here every Friday for Home Repairs and Solutions, KWTO 560 AM, and have a great weekend, everyone.
Well, Bob just leaned over the counter and he shook his head and said, "You need home repairs and solutions. Home repairs and solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house, they'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home